Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the English Learning Podcast, where we help you improve your English skills with simple and effective conversations. I'm your host, Jason, and with me today is my wonderful co-host, Julia.
Hi, Jason. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. Today we have a very important and useful topic, how to speak confidently anywhere.
That's right. Speaking English with confidence is a challenge for many learners. Have you ever felt nervous before speaking? Have you ever worried about making mistakes? Well, today, we're going to help you overcome those fears and become a more confident speaker.
We'll share why people struggle with confidence, the mindset shift you need, and practical techniques to speak without fear. No matter where you are, at work, in public, or with friends, you can become a confident English speaker.
And don't worry, this is going to be fun and easy to follow. So, grab a cup of coffee, relax, and let's dive into today's episode, Speak Confidently Anywhere.
Let's get started.
All right, Julia, let's start with a question. Why do so many people struggle with speaking English confidently?
That's a great question, Jason. There are many reasons, but the biggest ones are fear of making mistakes, fear of judgment, lack of vocabulary, and nervousness.
Yes, and I think fear of making mistakes is a big one. Many learners hesitate to speak because they worry about saying something wrong.
Absolutely, but here's the truth, making mistakes is a natural part of learning. Even native speakers make mistakes.
That's so true. And what about fear of judgment?
Oh, that's another major issue. Many learners think, what if people laugh at my English? Or what if they don't understand me? This fear stops them from speaking at all.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, most people don't judge you. In fact, they appreciate that you're trying to speak their language.
Exactly. And another problem is lack of vocabulary. When you don't know enough words, you might feel stuck in a conversation.
I totally understand that. But the good news is, you don't need a big vocabulary to speak confidently. Even with simple words, you can communicate well.
Yes, and let's not forget nervousness. Many learners feel shy, especially in new situations.
That's very common. I remember a friend who learned English, but was too nervous to speak in front of people. One day, she decided to practice a little every day. After a few months, she became much more confident.
Wow, that's inspiring. Confidence comes with practice, and today we'll show you exactly how to build it.
Yes, and that starts with changing your mindset, because confidence begins from within.
Let's talk about that next.
Now that we understand why people struggle with confidence, let's talk about the solution. Confidence isn't just about speaking well. It starts in your mind.
Yes, many learners believe that they need to be perfect to be confident, but that's not true at all. Confidence comes from accepting mistakes and focusing on progress, not perfection.
That's a great point. Think about children learning to talk. They make mistakes all the time, but do they stop? No, they keep trying, and that's how they learn.
Exactly. So the first mindset shift is see mistakes as learning opportunities, not failures. Every time you make a mistake, you are improving.
Yes, and another powerful mindset shift is positive self-talk. Many people say to themselves, "My English is bad," or "I can't speak well." But what if you change that to, "I'm improving every day," or "I can do this"?
That's so important. Your thoughts affect your confidence. If you tell yourself you can't do something, you'll feel nervous. But if you tell yourself, I am learning and I can communicate, you will feel more confident.
I love that. And here's a quick confidence-building trick for our listeners. Every morning, stand in front of a mirror and say one positive sentence about your English. For example, "I am a good English speaker," or "I am improving every day."
That's a fantastic habit. And one more thing, don't compare yourself to others. Everyone learns at their own pace. The only person you should compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday.
Yes, confidence is a journey, not a destination. Now that we've talked about mindset, let's get into some practical tips to speak confidently. Now that we've talked about mindset, let's move on to something even more exciting, practical tips to speak confidently anywhere.
Yes, these are simple but powerful techniques that you can start using today. Jason, what's the first tip?
The first tip is practice speaking every day, even if you're alone. You don't need a partner to practice English. Just talk to yourself about your day, describe things around you, or even read out loud.
That's a great tip. Speaking out loud trains your brain and your mouth to work together. And if you feel shy, you can start by recording yourself and listening to your own voice.
Yes. And here's the second tip. Use simple sentences. Many learners feel nervous because they try to speak in complex sentences. But confidence comes from being clear, not complicated.
That's so true. Even native speakers use simple sentences in daily conversations. Instead of saying, "I would like to acquire some information regarding," just say, "Can you tell me about?"
Exactly. Keep it natural and easy. Now, the third tip is focus on fluency, not grammar.
Oh, I love this one. Many learners stop speaking to think about grammar rules, but that only makes them more nervous. The key is to keep talking, even if you make small mistakes.
Right. Think about it this way. Speaking is about communication, not perfection. If someone understands you, then your English is working.
That's a great way to see it. And the fourth tip is use body language and expressions. Confidence isn't just about words. It's also about how you say them.
Yes. Smile, make eye contact, and use hand gestures while speaking. It makes you look more confident. And guess what? When you look confident, you feel confident.
That's so true. And our final tip is slow down and breathe. When people are nervous, they speak too fast and make more mistakes.
Yes. Taking a deep breath before speaking helps you sound more confident. Plus, when you speak slowly, people can understand you better.
Absolutely. So let's review these 5 tips. 1. Practice speaking every day. 2. Use simple sentences. 3. Focus on fluency, not grammar. 4. Use body language and expressions. 5. Slow down and breathe.
Great summary, Julia. Now, let's talk about how to stay confident in real-life situations.
Yes, let's get into it.
Now that we know the key tips for speaking confidently, let's talk about something very important: how to stay confident in different situations. Because let's be honest, confidence levels change depending on where we are and who we are talking to.
That's true. You might feel confident talking to a friend, but feel nervous speaking to a stranger or in a professional setting. But don't worry, we're going to share strategies for different situations.
Let's start with talking to strangers in public, for example, ordering food in a restaurant or asking for directions. What should learners do?
Great question. First, keep your sentences short and clear. Instead of thinking about long, complex sentences, just say what you need directly. For example, instead of, "Could you kindly provide me with directions to the train station?" just say, "Where is the train station?"
That's a great tip. Also, don't be afraid to ask people to repeat themselves if you don't understand. Just say, "Could you say that again?" Or, "Can you speak a little slower, please?"
Yes, most people are happy to help, so there's no need to feel embarrassed.
All right. What about speaking confidently in a group conversation?
Good one. Many learners feel nervous in a group because they think they won't be able to keep up. My tip is to listen first, then add your thoughts. You don't have to talk all the time. Just say a short sentence like, "That's interesting," or I agree with that, to be part of the conversation.
Yes. And if you want to say more, try repeating part of what someone else said before adding your opinion. For example, I agree with you. Learning English is easier when you practice daily.
That's such a great trick. It helps you sound natural in conversations.
All right. Now let's move to a more formal situation. Job interviews or speaking in meetings.
Ooh, this is a big one. The key here is preparation. If you're going to a job interview, practice answering common questions in English. Write down key points and practice saying them out loud.
Yes. And another tip is to speak slowly and clearly. Many people rush because they're nervous, but speaking slowly makes you sound more confident.
That's true. And don't forget good posture and eye contact. Even if you feel nervous, standing or sitting up straight makes you look and feel more confident.
Great tips, Julia. So, whether you're talking to strangers, speaking in a group, or having a formal conversation, remember these strategies. 1. Use simple and direct sentences. 2. Ask for repetition if needed. 3. Listen first, then speak in group conversations. 4. Prepare for formal situations in advance. 5. Speak slowly and use body language.
Perfect summary, Jason. Now, let's talk about overcoming nervousness before speaking.
Great idea! Let's get into it. One of the biggest things that stops people from speaking confidently is the fear of judgment. They worry, what if I make a mistake? Or, what if people laugh at me?
Yes, this fear is completely normal, but here's the truth: most people don't care about your mistakes. They are focused on what you're saying, not how perfect your grammar is.
Exactly. Think about it. When someone speaks your native language with a few mistakes, do you judge them? No. You're just happy to understand them. It's the same with English.
That's such a great point. Another way to overcome this fear is to reframe mistakes as progress. Every mistake means you are learning. Mistakes are proof that you are improving.
Yes. And here's another tip. Surround yourself with supportive people. If you practice with friends or in an English-speaking group, you'll feel more comfortable and realize that no one is judging you.
I love that. And one more thing, stop being your own biggest critic. Many learners judge themselves too harshly. Instead of thinking, I sound bad, change it to, I am improving every time I speak.
That's powerful. So, to summarize one, most people don't care about your mistakes. 2 mistakes are part of learning. Practice with supportive people. Be kind to yourself. Focus on progress.
Absolutely. Once you stop worrying about judgment, you'll feel so much more confident. Now, let's move on to daily habits to build long-term speaking confidence.
Great idea! Let's go! Now that we've talked about overcoming fear, let's focus on something very important: daily habits to build speaking confidence. Because confidence doesn't come in one day. It grows when you practice every day.
That's right. And the good news is, you don't need a lot of time. Even 10 to 15 minutes a day can make a huge difference.
Exactly. So, let's share some simple but powerful daily exercises. Julia, what's the first one?
The first one is talk to yourself in English. It might sound funny, but it really works. Every morning or evening, describe your day out loud. Today, I woke up early. I had breakfast. I went to work.
I love that. It helps you get comfortable forming sentences without pressure. And here's another one, shadowing.
Oh, shadowing is a great technique. Can you explain it?
Of course. Shadowing means listening to a native speaker and repeating what they say immediately. You can do this with podcasts, audiobooks, or YouTube videos.
That's such a great way to improve pronunciation and fluency. Another daily habit is reading out loud. Take any book, article, or even social media post and read it out loud to practice your speaking skills.
Yes, reading out loud trains your mouth to say English words naturally. And one more habit: record yourself speaking.
That's a powerful one. When you record yourself, you can listen back and hear your progress. You might think you sound bad at first, but over time, you'll notice big improvements.
Absolutely. So, let's summarize these daily speaking habits. 1. Talk to yourself in English. 2. Practice shadowing with native speakers. 3. Read out loud every day. 4. Record yourself and listen to your progress.
If you do these for just a few minutes each day, your speaking confidence will grow faster than you think.
That's right. Now, let's talk about how to keep improving your speaking skills over time.
Yes, let's go!
Wow, we've covered so much today. From understanding confidence struggles to practical tips and daily habits, everything you need to speak confidently anywhere.
Yes. And now, I want to remind all our listeners of something important. Confidence is not about being perfect. It's about trying, learning, and improving every day.
Exactly. Every great English speaker started as a beginner. The difference between them and those who never improve is practice and persistence.
So, don't wait for the perfect moment to start speaking English. The perfect moment is now. Take one tip from today's episode and apply it immediately.
Choose one daily habit from today's episode and start practicing it. Speak English today, even if it's just for 1 minute. Leave a comment or message us about your biggest confidence challenge. We'd love to help.
Remember, every time you speak, you're getting stronger. So keep going, keep learning, and soon you'll be speaking confidently anywhere.
That's the spirit. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode of the English Learning Podcast.
Bye for now, and happy speaking.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of our podcast. I'm Jason, your host, and as always, I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Sarah. Hi, Sarah. How are you today?
Hi, Jason. I'm doing great, thank you. And hello to all our listeners. We're so glad you've joined us today. We have an exciting topic that's close to the heart of every English learner out there. Today, we'll be talking about the best strategies to learn English, especially if you're just starting or maybe want to strengthen your basics.
That's right, Sarah. Learning English can feel like a big challenge, especially when you're a beginner. It's easy to get overwhelmed or even discouraged. But we're here to make it simpler and show you that with the right strategies, anyone can learn English effectively. And you don't have to be perfect. Just making small improvements every day can take you a long way.
Absolutely. And we get it. There's a lot to cover when learning a new language. So we'll be focusing on strategies that make the learning process both fun and manageable. Today, we'll share practical tips on how to set goals, practice daily, focus on listening and speaking, use technology to your advantage, and finally, embrace mistakes as part of the learning journey.
Exactly, Sarah. Whether it's setting small, realistic goals or using tools and apps that make learning interactive, we're covering it all. And remember, learning English isn't about being perfect from day one. It's about progress. Even small improvements can make a big difference. So we encourage you to take things one step at a time.
So, if you're someone who wants to improve your English or you're just beginning, stick around. We'll walk you through the best ways to stay motivated, keep improving, and make English a part of your daily life. By the end of this episode, you'll have some solid strategies to kickstart or refresh your English learning journey.
Yes, and for those of you who are already subscribed, thank you for being part of our community. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and check out our playlist, English Podcast Conversation for Beginners. for more helpful content like this. All right, Sarah, should we get started?
Let's do it, Jason. We're excited to share these strategies with all of you. So, let's dive right into our first strategy, setting realistic goals for your English learning journey.
All right, let's dive into our first strategy, setting realistic goals. When you're learning a new language, it's tempting to want to be fluent immediately. But setting smaller, realistic goals can actually make the process smoother and more enjoyable. Sarah, why do you think having realistic goals is so important for beginners?
That's a great question, Jason. I think it's all about motivation. When you set goals that you can achieve, even if they're small, you start feeling proud of your progress, and that feeling keeps you going. So instead of thinking, I want to be fluent, a better goal might be, I want to learn 10 new words this week, or I want to understand basic conversations. These small wins add up.
Absolutely, it's like building blocks. Small, manageable goals help you see progress, which is key to staying motivated. And once you achieve those smaller goals, you'll feel more confident to take on bigger challenges.
Exactly, Jason. And another thing that really helps is setting goals that fit your lifestyle. For example, if you're busy, maybe aim to practice English for just 10 to 15 minutes a day. That's enough to make steady progress without feeling overwhelmed. And if you miss a day, don't worry, just pick it up again the next day.
Yes, consistency is the real secret here. Learning a language doesn't have to be stressful. It's more about regular practice than long hours. So listeners, think about one small goal you can start with today. Maybe learning a few new phrases or listening to a short podcast episode.
Great advice, Jason. And remember, your goals can change over time as you improve. What's important is to start small and keep going. Step by step, you'll see yourself getting better.
That's right. So our tip here is to focus on small, realistic goals that you can achieve easily. By doing this, you'll stay motivated and feel great about your progress. Now, on to our next strategy, how to practice consistently. Now that we've talked about setting realistic goals, let's move on to our second strategy, practicing consistently. Sarah, why do you think consistent practice is so important when learning English?
Consistency really is the key, Jason. When we practice regularly, even if it's just for a few minutes each day, our brains get used to the language. It's like exercise. The more you do it, the stronger you get. So even if you're just practicing 10 to 15 minutes a day, it makes a difference.
That's a great comparison, Sarah. And the good thing is, you don't need to set aside hours. Short daily practice is more effective than long, once-a-week sessions. Little things like listening to an English song or watching a short video in English can make a big impact.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be traditional study time either. You can integrate English into your daily routine. For example, try thinking in English while you're doing something simple, like cooking or walking. Or try reading simple English posts on social media.
Good tip, Sarah. And for those who are super busy, you can set reminders on your phone to practice for a few minutes here and there. These small sessions add up, and over time, you'll notice real improvement in your understanding and speaking.
Yes, and don't be hard on yourself if you miss a day. Just start again the next day. Consistency is more about sticking with it over time, not about being perfect every single day.
Well said, Sarah. So remember, listeners, a little bit of practice each day can go a long way. Just find a way to bring English into your daily life, and soon it'll start feeling natural. All right, let's jump into our next strategy, focusing on listening and speaking first. All right, let's dive into our third strategy, focusing on listening and speaking first. This one's a game changer, especially for beginners. Sarah, why is it so helpful to start with listening and speaking?
Great question, Jason. I think it's because listening and speaking are the foundations of communication. When you focus on these skills first, you start feeling comfortable with how English sounds and how to respond. It's like learning the rhythm of the language, which helps build confidence quickly.
Absolutely, Sarah. Plus, listening to real conversations helps you pick up useful phrases and natural expressions. For example, listening to podcasts, watching videos, or even repeating after speakers can really help with pronunciation and flow.
Yes, and you don't need to understand every single word. Just listening to native speakers helps you get used to the language. For beginners, I'd recommend starting with simple content, like children's stories, podcasts for beginners, or even watching your favorite shows with English subtitles.
Good tips, Sarah. And speaking doesn't have to be perfect either. Even practicing a few sentences each day is valuable. Try saying what you see around you in English or talking to yourself about your day. It's amazing how much progress you'll make just by speaking a little each day.
Exactly, Jason. And remember, don't worry if you make mistakes. The goal is to get comfortable. The more you listen and speak, the more natural English will feel.
Great advice, Sarah. So listeners, focus on building your listening and speaking skills first. It's one of the best ways to feel confident in real-life conversations. Now let's move to our next strategy, using technology and resources to support your learning. All right, let's move on to our fourth strategy, which is all about using technology and resources. There are so many tools available now that can make learning English easier and more interactive. Sarah, what are some ways beginners can use technology to help them learn?
There are so many great options, Jason. For starters, language learning apps like Duolingo, Babbel, or Memrise are really useful. These apps help you practice vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation in a fun, game-like way. Plus, they're easy to use on the go, so you can practice anytime.
That's right. And beyond apps, there are also websites and YouTube channels, like our own, that offer free lessons for English learners. Watching videos can be especially helpful because you get to hear how native speakers talk, which is great for improving both listening and speaking.
Exactly. And another tip is to use language exchange platforms like HelloTalk or Tandem. These apps connect you with people who are learning your native language so you can help each other. It's a great way to practice conversational English in a friendly, real-world setting.
Great suggestion, Sarah. And for those who prefer learning on their own, podcasts and audiobooks in English are fantastic resources. You can listen while you're commuting, exercising, or even cooking. Listening to content at your level can help build vocabulary and improve your listening skills.
Yes, and don't forget about social media. Following English language accounts on Instagram or Facebook, or joining groups for English learners can be very motivating. You get exposed to new words, phrases, and even cultural references in a fun way.
Absolutely, Sarah. And listeners, remember that these tools are there to support you. Learning a language doesn't have to be a solo journey. You have a whole world of resources to help you. Now let's move to our final strategy. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. All right, let's talk about our final strategy, which might be the most important one. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. This is something a lot of learners struggle with, right, Sarah?
Yes, definitely, Jason. Many people feel nervous about making mistakes, especially when speaking. But here's the truth. Mistakes are a natural part of learning. They're how we grow and improve. No one speaks perfectly when they start, and that's okay.
Absolutely, Sarah. In fact, making mistakes is a good sign. It shows that you're actually using what you've learned. And often the mistakes you make will help you remember the correct way because you'll learn from the experience.
Exactly. Plus, most people are understanding and won't judge you for making mistakes. If anything, they'll appreciate that you're trying. So don't let the fear of mistakes hold you back from practicing speaking or trying new things in English.
Good point, Sarah. And remember, even native speakers make mistakes sometimes. Language is about communication, not perfection. So try to relax and focus on expressing yourself. The more you practice, the more comfortable you'll feel. And over time, you'll make fewer mistakes.
Yes, so listeners, let go of that fear. Embrace your mistakes as stepping stones to improvement. Every time you make one, you're getting one step closer to your goal.
Well said, Sarah. So let's recap all the strategies we've discussed today to help you learn English more effectively. Subscribe to the channel, share the podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the English Learning Podcast, where we help you take your English skills to the next level. I'm your host, Jason, and today we're diving into a topic that's perfect for the new year. How to start English learning in 2025. Whether you're a complete beginner or someone who's been putting off learning English, this episode is packed with tips to help you get started on the right foot.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julia, your co-host, and I'm so excited to talk about this. Starting a journey to learn English can feel overwhelming, but it's also one of the most rewarding things you can do for yourself. And guess what? 2025 is an amazing time to start because there are so many new resources and opportunities out there. So if you're ready to take that first step, you're in the right place.
That's right, Julia. In this episode, we'll cover why 2025 is the perfect time to begin, the first steps you can take, and some of the most effective tools and techniques available today. And as always, we'll keep it conversational and simple, so you can follow along and feel inspired.
And don't forget, if you have any questions or tips of your own, share them in the comments. We'd love to hear from you and support you on your English learning journey. So, Jason, are you ready to get started?
Absolutely! Let's jump in and explore why there's no better time than now to start learning English. All right, Julia. Let's talk about why 2025 is such a fantastic time to start learning English. Over the past few years, we've seen some amazing advancements in technology, education, and global connectivity that make learning English more accessible than ever. What are your thoughts on this?
You're absolutely right, Jason. The world is becoming more interconnected, and English continues to be the global language for communication. Whether it's for work, travel, or even online networking, knowing English opens doors to countless opportunities. And in 2025, there are so many tools, like AI-powered learning apps, that make the process more effective and even fun.
Exactly! One of the biggest advantages of starting in 2025 is how personalized learning has become. You don't have to follow a one-size-fits-all approach anymore. Apps, podcasts, and online courses can now adapt to your level and learning style. Plus, with platforms like ours, you can find real-world conversational practice, which is essential for building confidence.
And let's not forget about the flexibility these resources offer. In 2025, you can learn English anytime, anywhere, whether you're commuting, relaxing at home, or even taking a walk. There are podcasts like this one, YouTube channels, and even AI chatbots that help you practice your speaking skills. It's like having a personal English tutor in your pocket.
That's such a good point, Julia. And another reason to start now is that English isn't just about learning a language. It's about building connections. In 2025, with virtual workspaces and online communities growing, being able to communicate in English is more important than ever for staying competitive in the job market and expanding your social network.
Absolutely. Plus, the cultural aspect is huge. English gives you access to movies, books, music, and global trends that can help you connect with people from different backgrounds. It's a skill that enhances both your personal and professional life.
So, to sum it up, 2025 is a golden opportunity to start learning English. With cutting-edge technology, flexible resources, and a global demand for English speakers, there's really no better time to begin. The tools are there, the opportunities are endless, and all you have to do is take that first step.
Exactly, and don't worry, we're here to guide you every step of the way. Learning English in 2025 can be easier and more enjoyable than ever. So, if you've been thinking about it, this is your sign to start now.
Now that we've talked about why 2025 is such a great time to start learning English, let's dive into the first steps. Julia, starting something new can be intimidating, right? What would you say is the very first thing someone should do if they want to begin learning English?
Great question, Jason. The first step is to set a clear goal. Ask yourself, why do I want to learn English? Is it for work, travel, making friends, or just personal growth? Knowing your why helps you stay motivated and focused. What do you think, Jason?
I agree 100%. Having a goal gives you direction. For example, if your goal is to improve conversational skills for travel, you might focus on listening and speaking first. On the other hand, if it's for work, you might prioritize professional vocabulary and writing skills. Once you have a goal, the next step is to find the right resources.
Exactly. And when it comes to resources, start simple. You don't need a pile of books or expensive courses right away. You can use free apps like Duolingo, listen to podcasts like this one, or watch beginner-friendly YouTube channels. Pick one or two tools that match your goal and stick with them.
Great advice. I'd also add that consistency is key. Even if you only study for 10 or 15 minutes a day, it's better than cramming for hours once a week. Create a routine that fits into your daily life. For example, you can listen to an English podcast during your commute or practice vocabulary before bed.
And don't forget to start small and celebrate your progress. It's okay to begin with basic phrases like hello, thank you, or how are you? As you get comfortable, you'll naturally build on what you know. Learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint.
That's so true. Another important step is to overcome the fear of making mistakes. Remember, mistakes are part of learning. The more you try, the more you improve. Find ways to practice without pressure, like talking to yourself in English or using AI chat tools that help you practice conversation.
Yes. And if you can, surround yourself with English. Watch shows, listen to music, or even change your phone settings to English. Immersing yourself in the language, even a little, can make a huge difference.
So, to recap, start by setting a clear goal, choosing simple resources, creating a consistent routine, and embracing mistakes as part of the journey. These steps might seem small, but they're the foundation for long-term success in learning English.
Exactly. And remember, everyone starts somewhere. What matters is that you've made the decision to start, and that's already a big step forward. Keep going. You've got this.
Now that we've covered the first steps to begin learning English, let's talk about one of the best things about learning in 2025. The modern tools and techniques available to make the process easier and more fun. Julia, have you noticed how much learning has changed over the years?
Absolutely, Jason. It's amazing how technology has revolutionized language learning. Today, learners don't just rely on textbooks or classroom lessons. Instead, they have access to apps, online platforms, podcasts, and even AI-powered tools that provide a personalized learning experience. What's your favorite modern learning tool, Jason?
Oh, that's a tough one. But I'd say language learning apps like Duolingo or Babbel are great starting points. They make learning interactive and gamified, so it feels less like studying and more like playing a game. Plus, they cover everything from vocabulary to pronunciation. What about you, Julia?
I'd say podcasts and YouTube channels are my favorite. They're perfect for improving listening skills and picking up real-world phrases. Podcasts, in particular, are great because you can listen to them on the go, whether you're cooking, exercising, or commuting. And many of them, like ours, are designed specifically for learners.
Podcasts are fantastic. And speaking of real-world practice, how about AI chatbots and language exchange platforms? In 2025, you can have a full conversation with AI tools like ChatGPT to practice speaking or writing. Plus, platforms like HelloTalk or Tandem connect you with native speakers who can help you improve in a friendly, casual setting.
Yes. And let's not forget the power of video content. Apps like TikTok and Instagram are full of short, engaging videos created by English teachers and learners. These videos often focus on specific tips, like how to use certain phrases or pronounce tricky words, and they're super easy to fit into your daily routine.
That's such a good point. Another modern technique is using flashcard apps like Anki or Quizlet. These tools use spaced repetition to help you remember words and phrases effectively. It's like having a memory coach that ensures you don't forget what you've learned.
And if you're into gaming, there are even language learning games and VR experiences where you can immerse yourself in an English-speaking environment. Imagine practicing English while exploring a virtual world or solving puzzles. It's such a fun way to learn.
Exactly, Julia. And here's something learners often overlook. Subtitles. Watching movies or shows with English subtitles or switching the audio to English can do wonders for your listening skills. Start with something familiar and gradually move to shows with more complex dialogue.
That's a great tip. And don't forget about online courses. Platforms like Coursera, Udemy, and edX offer structured English courses for learners of all levels. Some of them even provide certificates, which can be useful for your career.
Absolutely. The key is to mix and match these tools to suit your learning style. Whether you prefer visual, auditory, or hands-on learning, there's a tool or technique out there for you in 2025. The options are endless.
So, listeners, take advantage of these modern resources. With apps, podcasts, videos, and AI at your fingertips, learning English has never been more accessible or exciting. Find what works for you and make it part of your daily routine.
And remember, it's not about using every tool at once. Start small, explore different options, and stick with the ones that keep you motivated. You've got all the tools you need to succeed in 2025. Julia, while 2025 brings some fantastic tools and opportunities for learning English, we know that challenges still exist. Let's talk about some common struggles learners might face and how they can overcome them. What's a challenge you hear about often?
One big challenge is staying consistent, Jason. A lot of learners start with great enthusiasm, but over time, they lose motivation. Life gets busy, and it's easy to skip practice. What advice would you give to someone struggling with consistency?
That's a good point. My advice would be to set small, achievable goals and build English into your daily routine. For example, listen to an English podcast like ours during breakfast, or spend 10 minutes on a language app before bed. Consistency doesn't mean hours of study. It's about showing up regularly, even if it's for a short time.
Exactly. Another common challenge is fear of making mistakes. A lot of learners feel nervous about speaking because they don't want to say something wrong. But here's the thing. Mistakes are a natural part of learning. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become.
That's so true, Julia. In fact, I'd say embracing mistakes is key to progress. Instead of worrying about being perfect, focus on communicating your ideas. Even if your grammar isn't perfect, people will usually understand you, and you'll improve with practice.
Another challenge I hear about is not having enough time. Many people feel they're too busy to learn a new language. But the good news is, with modern tools, you can make use of small pockets of time. For example, you can practice vocabulary while waiting in line or listen to English while driving.
That's a great tip. And let's talk about the challenge of finding practice partners. A lot of learners say they don't have anyone to practice speaking with. But in 2025, there are so many solutions for that. Language exchange apps, online communities, and even AI chatbots can help fill that gap.
Exactly. Another challenge is dealing with frustration when progress feels slow. Learning a language takes time, and sometimes it feels like you're not improving. My advice? Celebrate small wins, like understanding a new word or completing a short conversation. Progress happens in steps, not leaps.
Absolutely, Julia. And I'd also say that changing how you measure progress can help. Instead of focusing only on fluency, pay attention to small improvements, like recognizing more words in a TV show or feeling more comfortable speaking. Those are signs that you're moving forward.
One final challenge I'd like to mention is staying focused in a world full of distractions. With social media and busy schedules, it's easy to lose track of your learning. Setting aside dedicated time for English, even if it's just 15 minutes a day, can make a big difference.
That's a great point. So, to recap, staying consistent, overcoming the fear of mistakes, managing time, finding practice opportunities, celebrating progress, and staying focused are all challenges learners face. But with the right mindset and tools, every one of these challenges can be overcome.
Exactly. Remember, challenges are part of any learning journey. The key is to keep going, even when it feels tough. You're not alone in this. We're here to guide and support you every step of the way.
Well said, Julia. So, listeners, don't let challenges hold you back. Every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goal. You've got this. Julia, as we've discussed, consistency is crucial when learning English. But staying consistent is easier said than done, right? Let's share some practical tips with our listeners on how they can practice English daily without feeling overwhelmed.
Absolutely, Jason. One of my favorite tips is to set a specific time each day for English practice. Treat it like an appointment, maybe 15 minutes in the morning or evening. Having a routine makes it easier to stick with the habit.
That's a great idea, Julia. I'd also add starting small. For example, commit to learning 5 new words a day or practicing one simple conversation. Small goals are manageable and can easily become part of your day-to-day life.
Exactly. Another tip is to integrate English into activities you already do. For instance, if you like watching TV, try watching your favorite shows in English with subtitles. If you enjoy music, listen to English songs and look up the lyrics to learn new phrases.
That's a great point. And don't forget about speaking practice. Even if you don't have a partner, you can practice speaking out loud to yourself. For example, describe your day, talk about your plans, or even read a short passage aloud.
Yes, speaking out loud helps you get comfortable with the sounds of the language, and if you want feedback, try recording yourself. It might feel a bit strange at first, but it's a great way to identify areas for improvement.
Another effective tip is to use technology to your advantage. Set your phone or computer to English, Use flashcard apps like Anki or Quizlet, and make use of language learning apps. These tools are designed to make daily practice easy and fun.
Right. And if you're short on time, microlearning is a great strategy. For example, spend a few minutes on vocabulary during your coffee break or listen to a podcast while commuting. Even 5 to 10 minutes of focused practice can make a difference.
That's so true. And here's a motivational tip. Keep a journal of your progress. Write down what you practiced each day or what new words you learned. It's encouraging to look back and see how far you've come.
Exactly, Jason. One last tip. Make it fun. Learning English doesn't have to feel like a chore. Play games, join online communities, or find a study buddy. The more enjoyable the process, the more likely you are to stick with it.
That's a great way to end, Julia. Listeners, practicing English daily doesn't have to take a lot of time. With a little creativity and commitment, you can make English a natural part of your day. Start small, stay consistent, and most importantly, have fun with it.
Well said, Jason. Remember, learning a language is a journey and every step counts. Keep practicing and you'll see progress over time.
Wow, Julia, this has been such a great conversation. We've covered everything from why 2025 is the perfect year to start learning English to overcoming challenges and practicing daily. But before we wrap up, let's leave our listeners with some encouragement.
Absolutely, Jason. To all our listeners, learning English is more than just studying a language. It's opening the door to new opportunities, cultures, and connections. Remember, every expert was once a beginner. The key is to start and to keep moving forward, no matter how small the steps.
That's such an important message, Julia. Learning English isn't a race. It's a journey. It's okay to make mistakes, feel frustrated, or take a break. What matters is that you pick yourself up and keep going. Your dedication today will pay off in ways you can't even imagine.
And you're not alone on this journey. There's a whole world of learners just like you, and tools, communities, and resources to support you. Believe in yourself, trust the process, and know that you're capable of achieving your goals.
Couldn't have said it better, Julia. So, listeners, let 2025 be the year you take charge of your English learning journey. Start today, stay consistent, and remember, we're here cheering for you every step of the way.
Exactly. Thank you for spending your time with us today. Keep practicing, stay inspired, and don't forget to check out more episodes of the English Learning Podcast for tips, techniques, and encouragement.
See you next time, everyone. Until then, keep learning and keep shining.
Welcome to Easy English Talk, the podcast where we break down the complexities of speaking English fluently and help you build confidence in your communication skills. I'm your host, Sarah, and today we're diving into something that many English learners struggle with: how to talk fluently. Whether you've been learning English for a few months or several years, fluency can sometimes feel like the most elusive goal. But by the end of this episode, you'll have concrete strategies to help you improve. Now, when we say fluency, what exactly are we talking about? Fluency isn't just about speaking fast or without mistakes. It's about being able to express yourself smoothly, understand others, and hold a conversation with ease. You know that feeling when you're trying to express something, but the words don't come quickly enough, and you get stuck. That's a common frustration, but it's one that you can overcome with practice, patience, and the right approach. So, whether you're preparing for an interview, want to engage in more meaningful conversations, or simply want to sound more natural, this podcast is for you. We'll cover everything from understanding native speakers to building your vocabulary and practicing consistently. What is fluency? Before we dive into tips and strategies, let's start by truly understanding what fluency means. Fluency is often misunderstood. People sometimes think that if they aren't speaking English perfectly, then they aren't fluent. But that's not true at all. Imagine you're having a conversation with someone in your native language. Do you always speak without pausing or making mistakes? Of course not. Even native speakers hesitate, correct themselves, and sometimes struggle to find the right words. The same thing applies to English. Fluency is more about flow. It's the ability to get your point across without breaking the rhythm of the conversation. It's okay to pause and think. It's natural. What you want to avoid is getting stuck in a way that disrupts communication. Think of it like driving a car. You may not always drive perfectly, but as long as you can move forward and stay on the road, you're getting to your destination. For example, let's take a common situation. You're at a coffee shop, and you want to order a drink. You know the vocabulary for what you want, but the person behind the counter speaks quickly. You freeze. This isn't about your English ability, it's about confidence and comfort with the language. You know the words, but fluency means being able to respond naturally even when things don't go as expected. The role of vocabulary in fluency. Now that we've cleared up what fluency is, let's talk about one of the building blocks of fluency: vocabulary. Having a wide vocabulary is like having a well-stocked toolbox. When you have the right words, you can express yourself more easily. But how do you go about building that toolbox? First, let's talk about the importance of context. Learning vocabulary in isolation isn't very effective. You might know the word meticulous, for example, but if you've never seen it used in a sentence, you won't know how to use it yourself. Let me give you a more concrete example. Imagine you're reading an article about someone who is very careful and pays attention to every little detail. The word meticulous might be used to describe that person's work ethic. Now, when you use this word in your own speech, you'll know that it refers to being very careful and thorough. This is far more helpful than just memorizing a list of words. But it's not just about learning new words. It's about practicing them in context. A study once found that people who learned words in sentences remembered 30% more vocabulary after a week than those who learned words in isolation. So, the next time you learn a new word, try using it in a sentence right away. The importance of practice and repetition. Let's move on to practice, which is probably the most crucial part of becoming fluent. It's one thing to know the words, but you need to practice speaking regularly to make those words flow naturally. Now, when I say practice, I don't mean just repeating sentences or phrases. I'm talking about meaningful, consistent practice. One great way to practice is through shadowing. Shadowing is when you listen to a native speaker and try to repeat exactly what they say in real time. It forces you to focus not just on the words, but on the rhythm and flow of the language. Let me give you an example of how you might use shadowing in your daily routine. Let's say you're watching a video of a native English speaker on YouTube. Instead of just passively watching, you pause after every sentence and repeat what the person is saying. This exercise helps you mimic the natural speed and intonation of native speakers. Over time, your speech will become more fluid and natural. A study on language learners showed that those who practice speaking for just 30 minutes a day improved their fluency by 40% in 3 months. That's a significant improvement, and it shows the power of consistent practice. Overcoming the fear of making mistakes. One of the biggest barriers to fluency isn't your vocabulary or grammar. It's fear. Fear of making mistakes, fear of sounding silly, or fear of being judged by others. But here's the truth. Everyone makes mistakes when learning a language. Even advanced learners stumble from time to time. I've worked with many learners who were afraid to speak because they didn't want to say something wrong. But the truth is, the more you speak, the more confident you'll become. Mistakes are part of the learning process. In fact, they're essential. If you're not making mistakes, you're not challenging yourself enough. Let me share a story of a friend who was learning Spanish. He was terrified of making mistakes, so he would hardly speak in conversations. But once he started pushing past that fear and speaking more, his fluency improved dramatically. He realized that people didn't care if he made mistakes. They were just happy he was trying to communicate. So here's my advice. Embrace your mistakes. See them as opportunities to learn and improve. You'll find that your fluency improves much faster when you stop being afraid of getting things wrong. The power of listening to native speakers. Finally, let's talk about the power of listening. If you want to speak fluently, you have to listen fluently. This means exposing yourself to native speakers as much as possible. The more you listen to how native speakers talk, the more familiar you'll become with the natural flow of the language. I recommend finding a podcast, TV show, or YouTube channel that interests you and listening to it regularly. It doesn't have to be an educational show. Even entertainment works because the goal is to get used to the rhythm and vocabulary of native speech. Take my own YouTube channel, Easy English Talk, as an example. We focus on real conversations and dialogues, so you can hear how English is spoken naturally. Listening to real-life examples helps train your ear to understand faster speech, slang, and idiomatic expressions. This is crucial for fluency because it helps you anticipate what comes next in a conversation. In fact, research has shown that learners who regularly listen to native speakers improve their comprehension and speaking skills by 25% faster than those who don't. Fluency is not an unreachable goal. It's a journey that requires patience, practice, and persistence. By building your vocabulary, practicing consistently, embracing mistakes, and immersing yourself in listening to native speakers, you'll be well on your way to speaking English fluently. Remember, fluency isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Thank you for tuning in to Easy English Talk. If you found this episode helpful, make sure to subscribe and leave a review. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel for more content that can help you on your journey to fluency. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and soon you'll notice the difference in your own conversations. Until next time, happy learning!